drag king. I come from the town of Corpus Christi, which is most known for recently for having javelinas run through the center of town, which are Texas pig, if you're not familiar. So moving up here was a bit of an adjustment. On the way over to the venue, I was mistaken for a Woody impersonator twice. First by a drunken tourist in Times Square, and then by one of the Buddhist monks trying to sell me a pamphlet while remembering which Toy Story movie I best resemble. Now, growing up as queer in South Texas was a bit of a challenge, and I was worried most about coming out to my dad. Now, my dad is the most Texan person you will ever meet. He has had a full-on Elmer Fudd handlebar mustache since the age of 15. He had a pet alligator growing up. And everything he makes is in the shape of Texas. We have Texas cookies. We have Texas cakes. We even have a Texas apple pie on the 4th of July. Everything is shaped like Texas. So I had no idea how I was going to tell this living embodiment of Tommy Lee Jones that I was queer. Well, turns out I didn't really have to have that conversation. One night, he wanders in and asks me what I'm doing, and I'm watching Batman. And he wanders out, and a little while later, I decide I'm finally going to find out what Black Swan is all about. And my dad wanders back in the middle of the lesbian sex scene. He looks at me, looks at the screen and says, "That's not Batman." "No, Daddy, that's not Batman." The next day, I woke up to a rainbow Texas cake, and we never spoke of it again. Yeah, and now, my dad is an evangelical Texan, so it wasn't just enough to shape everything like Texas. No, we had to have foreign exchange students, and it wasn't just enough to host one and show them Texas. No, we had to invite all of them in town to a rodeo. So once we herded up the exchange students, which is harder than herding cats, they do not make a lasso good enough to herd cats, let me tell you. We went down to this rodeo, and we were running late. And my dad, like your typical Texan, is speeding down this highway. You know, there's tumbleweeds going by, passing a few oil derricks, and we're going about 85. When all of a sudden we get pulled over by a Texas Ranger. And I just shake my head, because this has happened half a dozen times. But these kids from France and Taiwan are freaking out. They have never seen someone in a 10-gallon hat with the mirrored sunglasses and the visible gun holster.
Natural-born killer.
Yeah, exactly. So the kid from France sneaks out of the car and pulls out his phone to start videotaping. And my dad, the officer says, "Son, why were you speeding so fast?" Because for Texas Ranger, everybody's son. And, well, I've got to take these kids to a rodeo. You see, I've got some kids who are only here for 2 weeks, and they're from France and Taiwan, and they've never seen a bull. What do you mean they've never seen a bull? Nope. You mean they've never seen a rodeo clown? Nope. You mean they haven't even seen one of the cowgirl performers? Well, go right on ahead. There's not going to be another speed track for another 200 miles. So we take them to see the rodeo. And when I went up to college, I knew that I had to be an evangelical Texan like my father. Now, I don't know if you know, but Texans are a little bit like Dracula. You can't just leave Texas. You have to travel with a little bit of it with you, either a Texas flag or a cowboy hat or some boots. You see, I'm covered. I got all three. We're equipped. I had to make sure. And I get up to college, and after a while, I got tired of people asking me, "Hey, did you ride your horse to school?" And so one day I finally said, "Yeah, but only on Tuesdays." "What do you mean, only on Tuesdays?" "Well, it'd be excessive if we rode a horse to school every day." "But, well, what do you do if you don't have a horse?" "Well, you just rent one from the front office, of course. It's a loaner program. You know, people don't judge. Whatever horse you got is just fine. And you just stable them up." Well, I figured this person had to know it was a joke. But apparently, I was a little too convincing. Because a few weeks later, I introduced myself, and they say, "Oh, wait, you're that kid from Corpus." that's where they ride the horses to school. And I just nod my head and say, yep, that's where we ride the horses to school. Because it's better than being known as that kid from the town where wild pigs are running through the streets. So, before I go, I want to be